What would you do if one night you found a missing person poster with your face on it and the date said you would disappear tomorrow? Rain hammered the empty highway as Arif Rahman, a 28-year-old investigative journalist, drove through the Blackwood Forest. His assignment seemed simple. A 16-year-old girl named Neela Hassan had vanished 3 nights earlier without leaving a single clue. No witnesses, no footprints, no ransom call. The police had already given up. But something about the case felt wrong. Everyone in the nearby town refused to talk. Whenever Arif mentioned Blackwood Forest, people immediately changed the subject. Some even locked their doors. An old gas station owner looked him straight in the eyes before saying, "People don't disappear in those woods. They get chosen." Before Arif could ask another question, the old man quietly walked away. The rain became heavier. Suddenly, his GPS lost signal. His phone displayed no service. The radio began producing loud static. Then, for just 2 seconds, a woman's terrified voice whispered through the speakers, "Don't stop the car." The radio went silent again. Arif froze. He looked around. There wasn't another vehicle anywhere on the road. Only darkness. A few minutes later, his headlights revealed an old wooden utility pole standing beside the road. Something was nailed onto it. Dozens, no, hundreds of papers. Curious, Arif stopped the car. As he stepped outside, freezing wind swept through the trees. The papers fluttered violently. They were all missing person posters. Children, parents, teenagers, tourists, people from different years, Arif slowly walked closer. His flashlight landed on the newest poster. His heart stopped. The photograph was him. The exact clothes he was wearing, the exact expression on his face. At the bottom, in bold black letters, "Missing since tomorrow." His hands began shaking. This has to be some kind of sick joke. He ripped the poster from the pole. The moment the paper touched the ground, every other poster started moving. Not because of the wind. They were moving by themselves. The faces inside the photographs slowly. Suddenly, footprints appeared in the wet mud, one after another, as if an invisible person had just started walking. The footprints led toward the forest. Arif stared at them. His instincts screamed at him to leave, but his curiosity won. He grabbed his flashlight, locked his car, and followed the impossible trail. The deeper he walked, the quieter the forest became. No insects, no birds, no wind. Only the sound of his own footsteps. Then, he noticed something strange. The footprints ahead of him suddenly stopped. Completely. There was nowhere else to go. No rocks, no fallen trees. They simply ended. Arif slowly looked up. Above him, something moved between the branches. A pale face, watching, upside down. It smiled, then disappeared. Arif raised his flashlight toward the trees. Nothing, just empty branches. He told himself it was stress, nothing more. But then, his phone vibrated. One new message, unknown number. He opened it. There was only one sentence. "Don't look behind you." Arif stood frozen, The missing girl, Neela, was right in front of him. Her skin was pale, her eyes completely black, and a strange smile spread across her face. She whispered, "You're already too late." Suddenly, she vanished into the darkness. A loud cracking sound echoed through the forest. Branches snapped. Something huge was moving between the trees. Arif ran. After several minutes, he saw an old abandoned house hidden deep inside the forest. The front door slowly opened by itself. He stepped inside. Dust covered every corner. The walls were filled with hundreds of missing person photographs. Every victim had disappeared near Blackwood Forest. At the end of the hallway stood an old wooden table. On it lay a thick black diary. Its cover read, "The Book of the Missing." Arif opened the first page. It listed the names of every missing person. He turned to the last page. His blood ran cold. The final name was Arif Rahman. Status: next. Before he could react, the front door slammed shut. Every light went out. The heavy footsteps grew louder. Step, step, step. Arif quickly turned around and pointed his flashlight toward the staircase. Nothing. The sound had stopped. His heartbeat pounded in his chest. He looked back at Neela, but she was no longer sitting inside the circle of candles. She had disappeared. A cold voice echoed through the underground room. "We've been waiting for you." Suddenly, every candle went out at the same time. The room was swallowed by darkness. Arif switched on his flashlight again. The beam landed on the walls. They were covered with hundreds of names, each carved into the stone. Every name belonged to a missing person. At the very bottom, someone had freshly carved a new name, Arif Rahman. His hands began to shake. Just then, a deep growl echoed behind him. He slowly turned around. A tall, shadowy figure stood in the darkness. Its body was covered with torn, missing person posters. Where its face should have been, there was only endless darkness. The creature slowly raised one long finger and pointed toward an old wooden door. Neela's voice whispered from somewhere nearby, "Open the door, or become one of us forever." Arif took a deep breath and slowly reached for the rusty doorknob. The moment he opened the door, his scream echoed through the entire underground chamber. Arif slowly stepped inside the room. His flashlight revealed dozens of old skeletons lying across the floor. Each one still held a faded missing person poster with its own face. In the center of the room stood a large stone altar. On top of it was the Book of the Missing. The book suddenly opened by itself. The final page showed only one sentence. "One soul must stay, so the others can leave." At that moment, Neela appeared beside Arif. This time, she looked like a normal girl. With tears in her eyes, she whispered, "We've all been trapped here for years. If you destroy the book, we'll finally be free. But you'll take our..." The book burst into flames. The entire underground chamber began to shake. One by one, the trapped souls turned into glowing lights and disappeared into the sky. Nyla smiled. "Thank you." Then she vanished.